You're still asleep. All right, let's wake everyone up. Touch your nose. Touch your head. Touch your belly. Okay, now see if you can. Can anyone do it? Can anyone actually do it? Stand up if you can do it. Stand up if you can do it. There we go. There's the freak show in the back right there. That part wasn't in the notes. That was just how you said. Raise your hand if you think it's 1,000 degrees here. Very good. Very good. Is there anything you can push on those little buttons anywhere? So how many Indian Orthodox does it take to... Just joking. Just joking. Just joking. Okay, while we see if we can address that, let's get out our packets, okay, and get over to handout number 2. And let's quickly, okay, you guys help me out here. First of all, I told that very nice lady who gave the speech about how to give public speaking, that I'm very honored to speak after her, and I'm sure that you guys the whole time will tell me all the stuff that I did wrong based on her lecture. So please try not to judge me on that. I didn't catch you at the end of it. All right. Remind me of what we spoke about in the first talk. Raise your hand. Tell me what you spoke about. Yes, sir. Dreams. Okay, very good. What about them? There's 5 kinds. No, that's incorrect. Huh? Okay, there's 5 ways, things that we can do to discover that dream. But someone taking a step back, why are we talking about dreams? Who cares about dreams? God has dreams for our lives. Alright, God has dreams for our lives. Remember our verse we talked about right here? Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They'll soar like eagles. And that's what we want to live like. Remember I talked in the beginning that there's 2 kinds of life. There's life by sight and then life by faith. And you got to choose. You want to live by faith or you want to live by sight? Live by sight, that's where the majority of people live. That's where what you see is what you get. Life's pretty boring. Life's pretty bland. Life stinks. Life with purpose, life with meaning, life according to God's plan, that's life of faith. Alright? And that begins with a dream that God gives us. And that dream, we talked about how to discover it, and that was the 5 steps of how to discover it. Can you remember what the 5 steps were? 1, D. Dedicate what? All my life to God. We sign a check. We say, God, I'm yours, wholly yours, forever, forever, ever. And then you tell me what you want me to do. Second step. Reserve what? Alone time with God. Okay? Because to hear God's vision, you must turn off the television. Alright? You got to have some quiet time with God on a regular basis. Third. Evaluate the gifts, the passions, the talents, what God has given me. God put inside you things that you care about that I couldn't care less about. And that's cool because that's from God. But some people care very much about the homeless. Some people care very much about the orphans. Some care very much about what's going on in the Middle East. Some care very much about the whatever. Everyone cares about different stuff. That's from God. 4. Associate with godly dreamers. Okay? Evil company corrupts good habits. Make sure you're hanging out with the right crowd. It's contagious. And then number 5, make public. First, I visualize, and then I verbalize what it is that God wants me to do. That was that first phase. That was that dream phase. And I want you to believe me on this one. You may not ever come up with a cure for cancer. You may not ever become a missionary or a monk or a nun or a priest or whatever. But that certainly doesn't mean that you can't do big things for God. Every area of your life, God has a dream for. You have money in your pocket. God has a dream for how you're going to use that money. You have time that God has given you. However many days on this earth, God has a dream for how you're going to use those days. You have relationships God has given you. God has a dream of how you're going to use those relationships. A way that you can use those to further His kingdom and glorify His name. So that was the first step, we come up with a dream. But now that we come up with a dream is really of no value without step 2, which is a decision. And we're going to talk about here today, or this session right now, is making decisions. Now here's the thing about decisions. You think In the first session, I'm talking about dream big and dream and all this kind of like big visionary kind of stuff. Well, now, I'm not going to contradict myself, but for those who don't feel comfortable with it seems like it's too broad, and it seems like, we're all going to run out like crazy people. Now, the other people are going to be very happy. Because even though we dream big, we don't just run out of these doors and run out willy-nilly and just all quit our jobs and quit our school and just go do whatever. We need to make sure we make godly decisions. And what I'm talking about and how to make godly decisions when it comes to dreams and life of faith, but it really applies to every decision that you make, is how to make godly decisions. The problem that we have sometimes in this country is we place a very high value on people who make quick decisions and who can think quick on their feet and who can act decisively and quickly. And thinking quickly is very good, and deciding quickly is good. But I would rather focus on the rightness versus on the quickness. James chapter 1, verse 5 through 8 says the following. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him. But let him ask in faith, with no doubting. For he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. For let not that man suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. Double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. You know what that means? The double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. Well, maybe. Well, then I don't know. And yeah, let's go do this. Well, actually, I want to do. Let's go do this. That person never received anything from God. What we want to talk about now is how to take this life of faith to the next step and make a decision. Y'all remember Moses, when God appeared to Moses in Exodus chapter 3. And God said to Moses, the burning bush, what did God tell him? What was God's message in the burning bush? Hey, Moses, I got great news for you. What's the great news? He said, people have been crying, and I heard their cries, and I'm going to deliver them. I said, okay, that's great, God. I've been waiting for that for a long time. But God said, it's not done yet. Not only am I going to deliver them, you're going to be their leader. And you're actually going to deliver the people out of slavery, out of Egypt, out of that wicked land. Moses said, okay, God, that's great. God said, okay, I think that's great. Now you go to Pharaoh. Moses said, I beg your pardon? You go to Pharaoh. You see, from the very beginning, if you read in Acts chapter 7, okay, when St. Stephen spoke about his famous speech, he spoke about Moses. When did Moses get the dream to deliver the people out of Egypt? When? In the burning bush? The burning bush? 40 years earlier. You know the story when Moses killed the Egyptian, okay? It says that he killed the Egyptian. Why? Because God had put it on his heart that you're going to lead the people out of here. So Moses said, okay, this is great, God. Let's do it. And he saw it. He said, okay, let's go. And he was going to do it one at a time like that. And God said, now Moses, you're right on the dream, but you made the wrong decision. I want to use you, and I am going to use you, and I put that passion in your heart, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it, remember? Whatever. We're going to do it this way. We're going to do it my way. So God sent him off to the wilderness 40 years. After 40 years, God said, okay, now it's time. Now you need to take a step. What would you say if you're Moses? Go to Pharaoh? What does going to Pharaoh mean? If you were writing in Moses' journal, going to Pharaoh equals what? Death. Death. Pharaoh was the most wicked man alive, and he's been saying for 40 years, anyone who sees this Moses boy, kill him and bring me his dead body. And I'm just march into his office and say, can I have a meeting? Death. So basically, here's what happens. This is what God always does, right? God comes and gives us this dream, and we want to do it, and then God says no, and then later on God comes and says, okay, now, but by this time, okay, God, it's too late. Like, it's impossible. Like, God, what you're asking me to do, it's impossible. It can't be done. So you know what? So I'm going to go back, and I'm just going to say, you know what? I wanted to do this great thing for God, but God, like, closed the door. Like, I was ready. And I told him, God, let's do it. But God came up with this crazy plan. Go to Pharaoh. Like, I tried. I wanted to. And it wasn't that I'm not willing. I'm willing. And if God had given me machine guns, I'd be the first one to go and meet Pharaoh. And if God had given me weapons, yeah, I'd go. But God doesn't know what He's doing. Or God doesn't want me. Or I must not be special enough. Or I'm not spiritual enough. Or I'm too bad. Or all that other nonsense that we say. I wonder how many dreams get killed between step 1 and step 2 because you make bad decisions. How many dreams get killed between step 1 and step 2? Goal today? How to make wise decisions. We don't want to just sit on our couch and sit there and say, well, this dream stuff, this big stuff, this is for other people, it's not for me. We want to see how we make godly decisions. And like I said, if it's in relationships, money, time, career, all this stuff, you need to learn the process by which you make godly decisions. We're going to see some wise counsel from the Bible. First step, the Bible says that we always begin when making a decision with praying for guidance. And I don't know how I can stress this enough. Okay, I wish there was another word for pray other than pray. Because sometimes we think pray for guidance. I don't know how it is in y'all's churches, okay? But sometimes in our church we do the following. We need to have a meeting to discuss this big issue. We need a big meeting and all this kind of stuff. Okay, let's start in prayer. If Father, Son, Spirit, God, please God bless me and thank you for our Father. There's our prayer before the meeting. Okay, now we need to discuss it. We need to talk. We need all this stuff. And basically the prayer at the beginning becomes a good luck prayer. Okay, no, let's start the meeting without doing a prayer. No, let's go quickly. It becomes a good luck thing. And that's oftentimes our prayers are. I gotta make this decision. Okay, we're not talking about good luck prayer. We're talking about prayer. We're talking about me saying, God, I don't want what I think is wise. I want what you know is wise. I don't want my idea. I want your idea. Proverbs chapter 28, verse 26 says, those who trust in themselves are, say it with me, fools. But those who walk in wisdom are kept safe. Show of hands. How many people ever made a stupid decision thinking at the time it was the best decision ever? Very good. A lot of hands. Put your hands down. Next question. How many people that didn't raise their hands are pathological liars? Very good. Every one of us has done it. We make decisions all the time. Yes, this is the answer to all my problems. This is the best thing. Oh. Can't trust yourself. Can't trust your feelings. Can't trust your emotions. You know where emotions come from? Do you know where they come from? Exactly, because they come from everywhere. Okay? Sometimes they come from the weather. The weather is gloomy, so we're gloomy. The weather is nice, so we're nice. They come from the people around us. Everyone else around us is sleepy, so yeah, sometimes you get sleepy. They come from what you eat. Okay? I know I had some emotions going on after lunch this morning. Okay? Can't trust emotions. Can't trust yourself. We trust in God. The worst thing, and I always tell this to people, someone comes home from work and he is grumpy and the boss is on his case and I hate that man, I hate my job, I'm going to quit. I will quit. I was on the same thing. I don't care if you quit or don't quit, but don't quit today. Quit 2 weeks. Because if you still feel that same way after you've calmed down, you've gotten a good night's sleep and a nice sandwich, you still feel that way in 2 weeks, then quit. That's fine. But don't just come home all emotional, quit. Same thing, it happens all the time in relationships. We got into a fight just now. I hate that woman, I hate that man. That's fine. You want to hate him after 2 weeks. But don't hate him now. Calm down. Think logically. Make a good decision. I always say, the best decision I ever made in my life was when I married my wife. Is that right? Oh. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Hey, just because I'm a priest doesn't mean I don't need the brownie points just like the rest of y'all. Okay? But I'll tell you, the night before the wedding, there were some emotions going on, and most of those emotions were saying, run for your life. Okay? Can't trust emotions. Can't trust your gut feeling.